Hey there, Pisces. Welcome to your reading for the week of November 10th. This week, we're going to jump right in here. You have this Serpent card. It says a sly and subtle approach is needed. You also have this Water that says emotions are at their peak. I think it's interesting because there's like a water trine going on this card. And we have a water trine. It kind of activates a couple of times this month of November between all the water signs. So, again, very good, which is good for water signs for sure. Very good for healing your emotions, just a good energy. It's happening with Jupiter as well in Cancer. And so, that makes it a little bit more expansive and more positive. You probably are going to be focusing on themes of expansion at this time as well. You also have the sly and subtle approach is needed card. So again, anything that you're doing, Pisces, you might want to just keep it to yourself for right now. That does not mean you're going to keep it to yourself forever, obviously. But, again, if you're working on something, it might be good to just work on it behind the scenes until it's ready to show off. And then, then you can show off whatever you're trying to show off. The other thing that I want to say here, Pisces, is, before I forget, because I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this, but we have this Judication card. I feel like this is good. It's coming up with a great Fortune card. But one thing I will say is Mercury retrograde in your 10th house in Sagittarius is, all about authority and things like that. So, like, no speeding, right? No rushing when you're driving around in the car and stuff like that, right? No getting into trouble, no starting fights, because, again, it's Mercury retrograde in the 10th is always bad for, like, authority figures and things like that. It's only bad if you break the rules, right? It's not, I don't think Mercury retrograde is bad. It's, Mercury retrograde is necessary, but definitely something to pay attention to. You have the Five of Cups, the Death card, and the Hierophant. I'm getting the end of sadness, literally, here, which is good. You have the Ten of Cups, you have the Judgment card, you have the Nine of Pentacles. It's like there's some, like, I feel like you're ending this energy with the Five of Cups of, like, things not working out and all that other good stuff. Today is the 3rd of November, the day that I'm recording this video. It'll be published on the 4th, of course. I think today, yeah, it is the 3rd. You could be feeling better this week, even, a week before the 10th, if you're watching this video early. It's like, are things perfect? No, of course not, but I do feel like things are getting better. I do feel like you need to, practice getting into the energy of gratitude as well. You have the Nine of Pentacles at the end, which is a card of gratitude. And again, if you believe in heart-based energy, it's like many great teachers like, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, absolutely Bruce, and, even Joe Dispenza, right? They all talk about heart-based energy and, gratitude. I'm pretty sure it's Dispenza that says that, like, 15 minutes of gratitude every single day, like 3 times a day or something like that can heal you. I don't know. It's popping into my head. You have the Water Trine card. It's an amazing time for healing the entire month, not even just this week. So, it's like carving out those moments, and I'm going to do it here, Pisces, as well. So I'll be doing this and, practicing just sitting in that energy of being grateful for something like 3 times a day. I don't know. It's popping into my head. So there you go. You have the Death card. Definitely a lot of changes going on for you, Pisces. And so I feel like it's kind of funny because I'm very focused. I'm a little bit distracted by this flying card that's showing up in your reading. It says ambition, joy, breaking free, and escapism. But I feel very good about it. It's almost like, it's like right now, like, I feel like you've been spending a lot of time on the ground, and I feel like you could be soaring, spreading your wings and flying. But I feel like there's some things that go along with that. It's like when you think about it, if you've ever seen like a hawk, getting chased by crows or something, it's kind of like the birds that soar highest. They have to deal with all the little, shit birds that chase them around, right, in the sky. And so it's like there's something popping into my head here about you making a change to where you don't care what those little shitbirds in your life have to say about you soaring and you kind of reaching new heights and all that other stuff. It's almost like if you could, kind of get over that energy this week, that or heal it, or just not worry about it, that things would really change for you with the Death card. I think the Death card in your reading is talking about a little literal change or transformation. Something definitely has to change because we have the Ten of Swords, Judgment to the Hermit. Ten of Swords says something is dead, done, over with. We have the Eight of Cups, you walking away from whatever this is. I feel like this is good for sure because, again, it looks to me like you're like walking away from something that no longer serves you, or you're finally getting that rebirth. Looks pretty good. You have the Hierophant. Yeah, it's like you have to follow the rules and break the rules at the same time. I mean, it's probably maybe one of the challenges having Saturn retrograde in your sign. It's like, Saturn is responsibility and, respect. I always say that, like, Saturn is like your grandfather. It's like your grandfather probably followed a bunch of rules. At least mine did. I don't know about yours, but it's like we sometimes have to like live like a grandpa or a grandmother or whatever during these times, and we just so that we're more responsible and we can be more successful. But it's kind of like, again, I get this thing about like needing to follow the rules, but also being willing to like bend the rules or something like that. Like I said, with that Judication card, with Mercury retrograde, retrograde in your 10th, it's actually kind of bad for breaking rules. And again, but I'm not talking about doing something illegal. That's like the big difference here, right, Pisces? It's like, it's a good time, I think, to go against the grain a little bit. And so, I don't know, you're going to have to put your thinking cap on. But that's what I'm getting here. By the way, the middle of even though we have a Mercury retrograde, it is actually a good time for love for Pisces here. The things that I always think about with, and especially I think what people need to realize is like where the retrograde is happening in your chart. If you have a retrograde happening in your 5th house or your 7th house or something like that, or if the retrograde is, creating a square to your moon, or is creating a square to Jupiter if you're looking for a husband, or Venus if you're looking for a wife, or whatever, it's like then maybe it wouldn't be a good time to date. Although I don't even think that's true. It's like, again, bend the rules. Who cares? But what I would say is it's happening in your 10th. It's not really happening in a relationship house. So, I think it's a perfect time for you to meet a new person. But what I will say is the energy of November is kind of like realizing that you're interested in a person, for Pisces. The way that I see the energy in your chart is that it's like maybe you're not exactly dating a person, but a person could be becoming attractive to you. And so don't be surprised if you become interested in like a person that or something like that. With the 5 of Cups, you have the 3 of Cups. Yeah, I mean, it's a great time for... we've been talking about this for a long time, Pisces. I think it's a great time for you to really find your tribe, to find your people, to figure out who you want to surround yourself with. Again, Neptune and Pisces. Neptune and Pisces is tradition. And so, but, you can be forming new traditions with new people that you meet, and you can, be forming kind of like new connections. And so I do think it's a great time for socializing, of course. With the Death card, you can't make this up. You cannot make it up. You have the 9 of Pentacles. I literally was talking about gratitude and practicing gratitude here because of the 9 of Pentacles at the end. Basically when this happens, it's the universe saying I meant what I said. So I think gratitude would be amazing for you. The other thing is that there are people on the Death card here. 9 of Pentacles is independence. And I said at the beginning of the reading, to keep what you're working on kind of like close to your chest, or it's like you don't have to tell everyone everything, right? And I kind of get that feeling here, but I don't know. I feel like you're working on something abundant here. At the end, you have this great fortune card, and this month, believe it or not, is pretty lucky for Pisces. Especially for those of you that are working right on something. Even if you're retired, you could be working on your health. You could be working on your wellness, your mindset, whatever, right? And I think that putting in the work is a good idea. With the Hierophant, you have the 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, 5 of Pentacles says do not call attention to your weaknesses and wants you to focus on your strengths. I always get this energy of comparing for Pisces. It's like, and especially with that flying card, I feel like you can reach new heights, but you're going to do it in your own way. You have all these cards of independence here. It's like, it's like if you have a business idea, a work idea, an idea for love, it's like I think Pisces needs to realize that the success is going to come from your own ideas, your own way of doing things. And I feel like you need to believe that you're strong enough to accomplish those things with that card. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Befriend card. It says empathy, courage, and transformation. You have this Flying card. It says ambition, joy, breaking free, and escapism. Again, like I said, definitely could be a new friend. The way that I see your astrology, for sure, is that, especially in November, for those of you that are looking for love, it absolutely could either be a friend or a new friend, where it's like you meet a person and then you kind of are like, you know what, I'm interested in this person. So don't be surprised if something like that happens. Like if you start just, as friends with a person, then it kind of develops into something more, especially if you meet someone right now. I also think courage is super important right now for everyone, especially next year when Neptune and Saturn move back into Aries. But we should be practicing being courageous now, being brave, bold, assertive, putting ourselves out there, all that other good stuff. And I also feel like it's like time for Pisces to soar, but you have to also do it, and you have to take the risk of the little birds pecking at you as you try to soar, right? And that's what I think Pisces has to ignore with the flying card. You have the Two of Pentacles, the Ten of Cups, and the Ten of Swords. I feel pretty good about this Two of Pentacles. I actually feel like you're going to be very busy at the end of the year here. Not even just this week, but, at the end of the year in general. And, of course, Two of Pentacles says work hard, play hard. So, make sure you're doing things in balance. Make sure you're not burning yourself out. I think the easiest way to do that is to make sure that you're in alignment. And as long as you're in alignment, then you won't burn out. Trust me, I know. I do 460 videos a month, right? So, again, and people constantly leave me comments about like saying, don't burn out and things like that, which pisses me off a little bit because it's like, don't project, don't put, I'm making you exhausted. So don't project your BS on me, number one. But number two, but when I do these videos, it's like, sometimes I start my videos, I'm tired. By the time I'm done, I am full of energy. I am channeling from source when I do my readings. It is something that, number one, I'm in alignment when I'm doing it. Number two, it fills me with energy, right? And so the Two of Pentacles says it's perfectly fine for you to be busy as long as what you're doing brings you into alignment, right? The other thing I do, Pisces, and that you definitely need to do is this right here, Ten of Cups. You need to do something fun. I'm going to a class tonight. So again, the other thing I do is I recharge my batteries. I do things that I enjoy, right? I go have fun with people. Believe it or not, I leave the house and I force myself to do it. Actually, I don't even have to force myself to do it anymore because I want to do it. And the Ten of Cups is like fortune after difficulty, happy home, happy family. Very good for love, but again, Two of Pentacles, work hard, play hard. So make sure you are playing and having a good time with the Ten of Cups. I feel like someone wants to date you, Pisces. Again, I know I've been saying this all year, but again, the universe doesn't wear a watch. Things happen when they're going to happen. And again, if you're in hermit mode, you're definitely not going to find love. So you have to, go do things, go take classes, go meet new people, all that other stuff. And if you do that, then you'll be very successful here. And sorry, I just realized I cut the crap out of my hand. And so I thought I saw blood on the camera. Sorry. But anyway, with the Ten of Cups, you have the, again, fortune after difficulty, good energy. You have the Ten of Swords. Again, I feel pretty good about the Ten of Swords as well, because I feel like the Ten of Swords is saying that something is coming to an end. Again, if we had like worse cards after it, I would be a little bit more concerned about it. But we have the Judgment card and the Eight of Cups. So it's like you're walking away from things that no longer serve you. You're walking away from something that is dead, done, over with, which, again, that is not a bad thing. That is probably a good thing. And the Ten of Swords is also like a blessing in disguise. One thing I will say is, again, North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo. I think it's very normal during North Node Pisces for Pisces to kind of have those, those realizations that something that didn't work out in the past was a blessing. North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo is very karmic. So, it's like any karmic lessons you learned or anything like that over the last 18 years, basically, you could be seeing how those things have helped you, or you could be finally learning, seeing the lesson in what you have learned. And, again, I think it's very much in the astrology for you, Pisces. Pisces, make sure to leave a comment, by the way, it really helps me out. With the Two of Pentacles, you have the Queen of Swords, a lot of clarity. Again, this is very Piscean to me. Again, I don't think any astrologer ever talks about this, but I think when Pisces does know what to do, they're just like a dog with a bone. They attack something very very quickly, So it's like when that what you're working on is working, I think Pisces gets very very motivated and really can move mountains, right? And I feel that's a little bit what's going on here. It's like you're getting clarity on something that works or will work in your life, and you're kind of like attacking it in a good way. With the Ten of Cups, I told you, you have the Knight of Cups, Knight in Shining Armor. I felt that at the beginning of your reading, for sure. I feel like someone's interested in you, but they're like behind the scenes or something. Or maybe some of you maybe haven't met this person yet, but I definitely feel there could be like a knight in shining armor coming in for you here. I wouldn't even I wouldn't even worry about the retrograde, because I just intuitively, I feel this might be starting as friendship. It's like, maybe you're just, it's not like you're not interested at first. I just get the feeling that you're just like, oh, a new friend. It's like you're not immediately jumping to the relationship thing, right? Some of you might already have this person in your life, or maybe you've already started interacting with this person, but I definitely see it as something that definitely becomes more. With the Ten of Swords, you have the World, which is an accomplishment or an achievement. With the World, it can also represent an ending. Ten of Swords, ending. So, the World, we start all over again as the Fool when the World comes up. So a lot of you could be also experiencing some sort of new beginning. As always, for the next, until 2033, there are going to be a lot of changes in the home for you, Pisces, because of Gemini, Uranus and Gemini, right, in your fourth house. So until that time, you will have a lot of changes. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this higher power card, literally your future self, in this chop wood card as well. Yes, again, the chop wood card is like putting in the work. So I definitely feel that there is like a new motivation coming in for you. Again, I really feel this, having this 10th house Mercury retrograde is going to be very beneficial for you, Pisces. I think it's one of those things where, it could just motivate you in all the right ways. It's like, and even though it's a retrograde, again, retrogrades can be good. They can make us revisit something that we did in the past, but that could be a good thing, because it could be bringing you an idea of how you can make something work, or how you can make something more successful. So I kind of feel this is like that motivation we were talking about. You have the Five of Swords, the Judgment card, and the Eight of Cups. Five of Swords can represent separation or walking away from something that no longer serves you as well, like the Eight of Cups. It can also represent winning at all cost. It's like I wouldn't worry too much. There's something about this reading that's telling me that you shouldn't worry too much about other people or something. I kind of said this at the beginning of the reading, but it's like I do think Pisces is sensitive to other people. And it's like if you're doing things and if you feel like you're soaring above other people, which might be true, you might want to kind of like bring those people with you, but it's like maybe you can't. And it's like obviously you don't have to be a jerk, not that a Pisces would be or anything, but I also feel like I kind of feel this card is saying that you shouldn't keep yourself down on the ground if you can fly, right? And that's kind of what I feel like saying. You have the Judgment card. Yes, like I said, I feel like this is one of those readings where I would really love the Tower to show up in the reading as well, because the Judgment card can also be similar to the Tower. It's like the Tower is like a lightning bolt hitting the top of your head. The Judgment card is a wake-up call, but this is your higher self that is waking you up, that is calling you to action, or calling you to take action in a new direction. So a lot of you, it does give me a little bit of that feeling of kind of like having a revelation or a light bulb moment, but not completely. It's just like a little one right now, unless we get the Tower, then it will be a big one. But I do feel there's like some sort of revelation for you this week. You have the Eight of Cups. Yeah, cutting out the crap, basically. He is walking away from those 8 cups because those 8 cups no longer provide him with something. And so he's choosing not to settle. We're definitely in a time where none of us should be settling on anything. So, don't settle. With the Five of Swords, you have the Moon, which could be just you showing up here, Pisces. And, I feel whenever you show up as yourself, it puts you in a position of power and strength. It is a card of like darkness, and we have the Hermit who has found his light. He's climbed to the top of the mountains here, and we have mountains in the background of the Moon card right here. And so I feel for a lot of you, it's almost like you've completed a period of time of confusion, not seeing things clearly, and all that other stuff. So I don't know. The end of the year here is looking kind of good for you, Pisces. With the Judgment card, you have the Judgment card. So I feel a lot of you just could be having a revelation or kind of like a spark this week where you have some idea of like what to do. And again, we have clarity right here with the Queen of Swords as well. So, that's definitely something I would pay attention to, especially if you're getting any communication. Like I would be paying attention to your dreams, your daydreams, everything. With the Eight of Cups, you have the Five of Swords again. So basically the universe saying I meant what I said. You're just like walking away from things that no longer serve you, Pisces. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this great fortune card. It says, good luck, triumph, happiness, ease, reward for your efforts, fulfillment, dreams come true, love it, and positive outcome. You have this judication card. It says, advisor, consultant, negotiation, discussion, final decision, conflict, discernment, moral ambivalence. So again, like I said, no speeding at this time, no getting into, trouble. I would avoid all that, but it is coming up in the good stuff. But there could be good fortunes coming in for you. The other thing I want to say to you, Pisces, this is coming up in the area of the good stuff, but I just have to deliver the messages that pop into my head. I feel if you're working on something like a project, a business, a new idea, anything like that, I feel like this card, this judication card, is almost like saying that, it's like, I don't think this is going to happen right now, but just remember what I'm saying to you, right? Is that if you're finding success, like let's say you start a business or a YouTube channel or something and you're finding success, I feel like there could be a person in the future that like comes in and like wants to help you, but I feel like they really want to like take over, right? They want to take advantage, basically. I don't know. It's popping into my head. I feel like as you become more successful, I think you really need to double check the people that you're allowing to help you and make sure that they're not like taking advantage. It's just popping into my head. You have the Hermit, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Three of Swords. Hermit says that you are kind of like ending a dark night of the soul or a difficult period of time. Also, Hermit can kind of represent overcoming something. He's climbed to the top of the mountain and he's shining his inner light, right? So I feel a lot of you have the opportunity to really shine your light at this time, get a lot of attention for what you're doing, what you're creating, all that other good stuff. And yeah, that's basically what I would do. With the Hermit is, pay attention to your inner light. You have the Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles can be gratitude, luxuries, independence. And I think practicing gratitude would be an amazing healing energy for you here. And again, even if you don't believe it, it's free. So why not try it, right? It's like I see plenty of people saying like, oh, Joe Dispenza's BS. I'm like, well, maybe he is, but it doesn't cost anything to try it, basically, right? To be grateful for 15 minutes, 3 times a day, and just think positive thoughts. So, why not just see what happens? She also has a falcon right here. So again, more of a message of you needing to like soar to new heights. It's definitely popping into my head. You have the Three of Swords. Again, amazing time to heal. Three of Swords and the good stuff would be healing. And it doesn't have to be a heartbreak. It could be healing anything. And, really, the thing about water trines, is, especially with Jupiter, is that they can kind of represent spontaneous healing. Healings that happen just randomly. And so I would do any type of healing practice that you can do, whatever you like doing, I would do it. And you could be healing your heart, your health, your pretty much anything, right? With the Hermit, you have the Hangman. The Hangman is you, Pisces, gaining a new perspective. I do feel you're seeing things differently. I feel like there's more hope for Pisces. I think you need to grab onto the hope and use it, but I think you might have these moments over the next, not only this week, but the next few months, where it's like maybe you're just finding yourself being a little bit more optimistic. And I don't know, that's popping into my head, but I would follow those thoughts. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Nine of Cups. Amazing. Total fulfillment, success, wish fulfillment. I would definitely make a wish at this time with the Nine of Cups. I think it would be very good for you, but definitely could be some fulfillment. With the Three of Swords, you have the Two of Pentacles. Yep, work hard, play hard. Like I said, I feel you're going to be very busy. The Two of Pentacles to me can also be like a card of receiving a settlement. And so some of you, if you have been involved in something legal, you could be getting a settlement. You have this mule. It says, someone is extremely stubborn and unwilling to change. I've been telling people all year that we should be careful of stubborn people just in general. So, I would be careful of stubborn people. You have this clouds. It says temporary problems. I think your temporary problems are clearing up because she has clouds halfway up her body. And you can see that like the sun is kind of like peeking through these clouds. So if you have been having a problem or an issue, it's almost like you're discovering a solution on how to overcome it. And I would double down on whatever that solution is. You have this door. It says opportunities are waiting for you. Yeah, not on the ground though. Pisces. I think the opportunities are when you soar, when you rise above anything, when you go to new heights, again, obviously there are things you have to do to get to those new heights. You have to challenge yourself, you have to learn new things, you have to adopt new habits, you have to get rid of bad habits. The list goes on and on. So that's what I would do there. You have this rainbow. It says, the most difficult part of a situation is over. Love it. Yes, I definitely feel this reading is a major improvement. You have this bell. It says, announcement on it. Definitely could be some important news or good news coming in for you this week, Pisces, so I would pay attention. I do kind of feel this is like communication from a person. So again, don't be surprised if you get communication this week from a person or if you meet a new person. But this looks really good, Pisces. I like it. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your week.